What are those mistakes that we all need to avoid in our life? Today, we are going to learn about a very important mistakes that is to be avoided from a very well-known famous personality from Ramayana. Before that, let's begin by offering our prayers to Srila Prabhupada and to their lordships. Please join me. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome once again for all those who have just joined. Today's topic is how to avoid being impulsive in life. This impulsive nature is something that we all need to avoid in our life. And this aspect we are going to learn from Ramayana, from the life of Kaikeyi, the third wife of Dasharatha Maharaj and the stepmother of Lord Rama. Kaikeyi name is very famous because she plays a very important role in Ramayana. She is the one who brings the twist in the Ramayana. What happened? And let's get into the details. And while we are hearing about Kaikeyi and what she did, simultaneously, parallelly, we will also bring our lives into the picture and see whether we are also doing the same and how to avoid this kind of a mistake in our life. Kaikeyi was married to Dasharatha Maharaj. She was one of the most beautiful women at that time, and Dasharath had special attraction and affection for his third wife Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi is the mother of Bharat. Bharat's mother is Kaikeyi. But even though she is the mother of Bharat, but she loved Ram more than Bharat. Even Ramayana says how among the three mothers, that is Kausalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi, it is the Kaikeyi who loved Rama the most. She loved Rama unconditionally. This is the background. In the Ayodhya Kanda of Ramayana, where now Rama's and Sita's marriage is over, now Sita and Rama are happily living in the Ayodhya city. At that time, Dasharatha Maharaj gets a thought that he must now hand over the kingdom to Lord Ram and then he must retire. And he also sees some of the omens indicating that he must do this as early as possible. Ministers support this. Everybody support this decision. And then Dasharatha Maharaj decides, okay, tomorrow morning, early in the morning, in the Brahma Muhurta, there will be Rajyabhisheka. That means there will be crowning ceremony. Ram will be enthroned. He will be crowned as the king of Ayodhya from now onwards. This was the most awaited event in the lives of Ayodhya Vasis. They were so joyful by hearing this. Immediately the Ayodhya city broke into celebration by hearing this news. Tomorrow morning our beloved Ram is going to become our king, like that. And this news spreads everywhere. One lady by name Manthara, who is the servant and also the guardian and caretaker of Kaikeyi, she comes to know of this. And by hearing this news, she becomes extremely unhappy, sad. heartbroken that Ram is going to become king. Then what will happen to Bharat? What will happen to Kaikeyi? She was obviously thinking of Kaikeyi and Bharat because she was the guardian of these two people. And then she comes rushing to Kaikeyi's palace. At that time, Kaikeyi was sitting in a swing and she was having good time. Kaikeyi, did you come to know what happened? Kaikeyi says, I don't know. What's the news? She says, how fortunate. Alas, you are sitting and having good time when there is such a bad thing happening in your life. And she says, whole Ayodhya is celebrating. And you say you don't know this news? How unfortunate. Then Kaikeyi said, Manthara, please stop blabbering. Tell me what is that? Then Manthara said, Ram is going to be the king from tomorrow. There is a ceremony. There is a Rajyabhisheka, Pattabhisheka. Tomorrow, crowning ceremony, and Ram is going to be the king. By hearing this news, Kaikeyi became so happy. She got excited. She also started celebrating the news. She said, Manthara, you give me the best news of my life. She took out her necklace and she handed over to Manthara for giving such a good news, and she wanted to embrace Manthara. And Manthara, by seeing this kind of a response from Kaikeyi, she got so angry and disappointed. She threw that pearl necklace on the floor and she started rebuking Kaikeyi. She said, alas, look at this unfortunate lady Kaikeyi. How sad when such a bad thing is happening in your life and in your son's life. You're celebrating it. How can anybody be more foolish than you? Then Kaikeyi said, what's wrong with you? Why are you saying this? Then Manthara said, if Ram becomes king, what will happen to Bharat? He will be sent out of this kingdom. Then Kaikeyi said, no, Ram is not such a person. He will never harm my son. He will always treat my son dear as his own life. So Ram will never do. I know Ram very well. Then Manthara tells, if Ram becomes king, then his mother Kausalya will take revenge on you, because you are the dearmost wife of Dasharatha, and now she will become Rajamata and she will take revenge on you. Like this, Manthara spoke so many things, and finally she, by speaking about so-called welfare and future of Bharat, she was able to poison the mind of Kaikeyi. In the beginning, Kaikeyi was not at all agreeing to what Manthara was saying. But Kaikeyi did one very big mistake. And the mistake was, impulsively she listened to Manthara. I'll tell you in little more detail what is the mistake. And when Kaikeyi started thinking, she knew Ram is a good person. He will not do any harm. But she was convinced he may be a good person, but for my own son's good, I have to do this. I have to somehow. But how do I do this? Then Manthara reminded Kaikeyi. What is that? Hey Kaikeyi, do you remember? Long back your husband Dasharatha Maharaj had given you two boons. And what is that two boons? That whatever you want, you ask, I will fulfill them. So now you use them. And what you should ask? Manthara said, you should ask, Bharat should become the king of Ayodhya. And Ram should go to forest for 14 years so that there is nobody to oppose Bharat becoming king. And if he goes to forest, Bharat can live here peacefully without any enemies, without any opposition, and Ram may die in the forest because it's very difficult to stay in the forest for 14 years. Like this, Manthara gives these two suggestions. Now Kaikeyi accepted it. Now I want all of you to bring your life into this picture. How many times we are in the position of a Kaikeyi, right? We are not bad people. Probably we are not bad people. Like Kaikeyi, she's so happy. She wants Ram to become king. In fact, she took her pearl necklace and she's celebrating by gifting it to Manthara. Like that, we also want many good things. We want to support good things. But when we listen to bad people like Manthara, who will spoil our mind. They demotivate us. They take away our enthusiasm. They give wrong direction. They give horrible instructions. Sometimes destructive decisions like Manthara gave. And we start agreeing to those when we become selfish. When you become selfish, just like Kaikeyi, she is not thinking from Ayodhya point of view. What is good for Ayodhya? What is good for citizen? She started thinking what is good for me, what is good for my son Bharata. See, like that, sometimes we start thinking what is good for me, what is good for my immediate family members, and we forget our bigger good, like what is good for my soul, what is good for my spiritual life, what is good for goal of my life. Like Shastras, they say, Durlabham Manusha Janmam. It's so difficult to get human form of life. We have to very carefully utilize this opportunity. So we don't think many times what is good for human form of life. We think, oh, what is good for earning money? What is good for my own selfish agendas? In this way, we take decisions impulsively. We spoil the human form of life. So Kaikeyi, she was about to do this, and still I have not explained to you what exactly she did the mistake. Now what she did, she sent the message to Dasharatha Maharaj, and Dasharatha Maharaj came happily to tell the news to Kaikeyi like Ram is going to be the king tomorrow. And then when he comes, then Kaikeyi immediately told, oh my dear king, you look so happy. Now today I want you to fulfill the 2 promises that you had given in the past. And Dasharatha was already in the happy mood because he was celebrating Ram becoming king. He said, yes, my dear wife, my dear Kaikeyi, today I am in very good mood. Of course, today I will I'll fulfill those 2 promises. And then Kaikeyi, what she did was a disastrous for her own self. We are not talking about what is bad for Ram. We are talking about how what she did became a disastrous for her own self. She said, hey, my dear husband, my dear king of Ayodhya, Dasharatha Maharaj, my first wish, your first promise that you're supposed to fulfill is Bharat to become king. The second promise you should fulfill is Ram should go to forest. These are my 2 wishes, and you have to fulfill. You see, she asked these 2 questions, two wishes. Now is something very serious. Now Dasharatha Maharaj also said, I will fulfill, and Kaikeyi asked this. Now because of this, what happened? Dasharatha Maharaj's heart broke into pieces. He fell unconscious. He could not believe his own ears. What is Kaikeyi asking? What horrible thing she is asking. This will bring unhappiness, disaster for Dasharatha, for family, for everyone, Ayodhya city, for the whole world. How could she ask this? And now, if Dasharatha Maharaj says, no, I will not be able to fulfill, I cannot fulfill, that is another disaster, because Raghukula Riti Sada Chali Aayi. What is that? Pran Jai, Vachan Na Jai. The kings in the Ikshvaku dynasty, Raghukula dynasty, once they give promise, they have to keep their promise. They cannot break their promise. They cannot, say, sorry, I can't do this. Because if Kshatriyas break their promise, then there will be instability in the society. Nobody will trust the administration. So the kings have to keep their words. They have to keep their promise. It's very important, and especially in the Raghukula dynasty, it is so important. Not even one king has ever broken the promise. So now Dasharatha Maharaj said, I will fulfill your promise, and Kaikeyi said, these are my promises. These are the wish that you have to fulfill the promise. Such a big disaster. Now what happened? Now all of you think, if that is what she believed, it is good. Now what is this impulsive nature means? I am referring, okay, Kaikeyi thought, I want to ask something which is good for me, which is good for my son Bharat. No problem. We all have freedom to think what is good for us, right? Because people like Manthara may come and give advice and we may get convinced, oh, this is good for me. Okay, no problem. But what she did not do is that she did not clarify. She did not consult. She did not discuss with Dasharatha. She did not clarify with Lord Ram. So this is the problem with our mind. When our mind starts believing in something, it does not want to clarify. Once we conclude, he is bad, we do not want to clarify. We don't want to go to that person. We don't want to talk. We don't want to clarify. We don't want to explain. We just want to conclude, judge, and take the final decisions. That's the impulsive behavior of the Kaikeyi. She could have asked Dasharatha Maharaj, my dear Dasharatha Maharaj, you see, I want my son also to be the king. Is there a possibility? Maybe there is a possibility. Maybe we can divide the Ayodhya kingdom. Ram also may be king for one portion, and Bharat also can become the king of another portion. There could be different options available. She didn't clarify. She did not explain to Dasharatha exactly what is her requirement. So she created a disaster. In our life, many times in our many situations, we do this mistake. Impulsively, we take decision. Like many times, they do impulsive shopping. Suddenly you come across some item and you feel it is good and you want to just go on spending money on this. You do not think, do I really require this? Is it a necessity for me? Is it that without this I can't live? No, we become impulsive. Impulsive means do not think. You don't think sufficiently. You do not clarify. You do not give a second thought. You jump into action. You jump into judgment. You jump into conclusion. If you do like this, it costs relationship. Right? And then you see, Kaikeyi could have clarified. She did not clarify. She did not discuss. She did not ask alternate option. She already made conclusion. This is how it should happen. This is the impulsive decision, which is the biggest mistake in Kaikeyi's life. And now what happened? Dasharatha tried to convince Kaikeyi she is not ready. And the news reached, Ram came, and when he heard this, he said, yes, nobody should break the promise. If my father has given promise, I will happily fulfill it. He went to the forest. Now I will tell you what happened. Now Dasharatha, he was crying. His heart was broken because he was separated from Lord Ram and he was not able to tolerate that separation. And he died. In that pain, suffering, Dasharatha died thinking of Ram. So first loss in Kaikeyi's life was that she lost her husband because of her impulsive behavior. She lost Dasharatha, who was so much loving Kaikeyi. She lost him. And next what happened? She may not care. Okay, she may think he is an old man, old husband. Who cares? Let him die. I'll get what I want. Then the news reached to Bharata. Bharata was not in Ayodhya at that time. He was in Kaikeyi Desha, the Kaikeyi's father's place. So from there he comes. And when he comes, nobody is happy with him because they're all assuming this Bharata and Kaikeyi, both of them together, they've colluded and they made this kind of a plan to send away Ram. See, because of that, Ram is no more in Ayodhya, Dasharatha had died. So they are thinking now Bharat is also a bad person. So he is not understanding why the citizens are, so badly giving him a look, or they're not having a good body language towards Bharat Maharaj. And when he comes to Ayodhya, sees no one is happy, everyone is unhappy, everyone is crying. He's not understanding why. He rushes and he comes to his mother and he asks, where is father Dasharath? Where is brother Ram? They're not visible. Then Kaikeyi says, oh my dear son, all your enemies are eliminated. She's so happy to tell this. She says, I have removed all your enemies. Now you can become the king of Ayodhya. Ram is in forest and your father is no more, is dead. And when Bharat heard this news, he collapsed. He fell unconscious. What am I hearing? Who is this speaking? Is this my mother or a devil or a Rakshasi is speaking to me? Because I can't believe my mother can think like this. I can't believe my mother can do such a thing. He fell unconscious. And when actually Kaikeyi did not understand what's going on. She thought my son will be very happy. But she was surprised to see Bharat is actually, he's feeling not okay. Then when Bharat regained his consciousness, when Kaikeyi saw this, Bharat said, I will not accept you as my mother. I will reject you from today as my mother. You are not my mother. You are my enemy. You can never ever do this. It's undone. It's just not done. How can you kill my father who is so dear to me for this kingdom? I am not interested in this kingdom. And then he said, Ram is my life. Bharata Prana Priya Ram. Bharata's life and soul is Ram, and you have separated Ram from me, from my life. You have sent him away to forest. You think I'll be happy? I reject you. You are no more my mother. You see, now what happened? Because of her impulsive decision, first of all, Kaikeyi lost her husband. Second thing is, now for whom sake she did everything, Bharat is saying, now I don't want you. He's not happy. She thought Bharat will be happy. This is the problem with impulsive thinking. Impulsive thinking means no discussion, no clarification, no communication. If she thinks it is good for Bharat, she could have discussed with Bharat before she implements that kind of a thing. She did not do. She assumed that it is good for Bharat. But now Bharat is upset. He's so upset. He's saying that I cannot accept you as my mother. Now what happens to Kaikeyi? She is heartbroken. Husband is dead. Now son, for whom sake she went against the whole world, is saying, I am no more your son, you are no more my mother. So she was heartbroken. Kind of a earthquake for her. Oh, Bharat is, not happy with me. See, like this, when we become impulsive and take quick decision, uninformed decision, not properly, sufficiently deliberated, discussed decision, this is what happens in our life. Today's world is like this. We are all encouraged to take impulsive decision. That is how this online shopping happens. That is how people watch some cinemas and they become, this is what I should do in my life. Sinful activities. We do not allow ourselves how to develop this decision making. Decision making is a very, very critical ability that we all need to develop. Just like you go to court, court will not give you impulse judgment in half an hour. They take time. They apply their mind. They check everything carefully and then they give you judgment. That is so important in our life. Now Kaikeyi, the Bharat said, I don't want you. Now Ayodhya Vasis, they completely become against Kaikeyi because she sees her as a villain. They see her as an enemy of Dasharath Ram. So now Kaikeyi lost her husband. Kaikeyi lost her son. Son is upset and unhappy, not ready to accept her as a mother. And Ayodhya Vasis are not ready to talk to her, see her face. And she lost everything in her life. What she got. Now Bharat is saying, I will not accept Ayodhya. I will not become king. He's saying, I am never going to become king. It's not possible. So she wanted Bharata to be the king. Bharat never became the king. This husband, Dasharatha, father of Bharata and Rama, she lost and she got good name in the society. Everybody started avoiding her. See, this is the result of impulsive decision. So what is the lesson we learn from Kaikeyi's life is, don't be impulsive. Okay, people like mantra can come and spoil our mind. We are ordinary people. We all come under different influence. Our influence is like mantra. Mantra represents an influence in our life. It could be negative influence, whatever, destructive, all those influence. At that time, the minimum thing you should do is you should consult. Well, whom are you supposed to consult? Don't do the mistake of Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi did not consult anybody. She directly implemented whatever she wants to implement impulsively, immaturely. What are we supposed to do? We are supposed to consult. Whom are we supposed to consult? Don't consult people like mantra. They will reinforce your impulsive decision. But we have to consult Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. We have to read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, whether Shastras agree what I am thinking. Right? We should see what Shastra says. And then you should see what Sadhus. Sadhus means the devotees, spiritual master. Whether Prabhupada agrees to this kind of a point. Whether devotees, if I talk to them, Prabhu, I wish to do like this, I want to do like... See, consultation is the most important part of our life. No matter how big you are, you may be Prime Minister of this country, still you are supposed to consult. Otherwise, you are only listening to your mind, which is extremely dangerous. Bhagavad Gita says, uncontrolled mind is an enemy. Don't listen to your enemy. Impulsive mind. That is why you have to listen outside of your mind. And where? Not Bollywood, not Hollywood and all these unnecessary things. We have to listen to Guru, spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. What Prabhupada has written in the books. What Prabhupada has written in the letter. What Prabhupada speaks in the lecture. And Shastra, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, all other books. And then devotees. When we consult, then it is not called impulsive. Then you consult your parents. Then consult the devotee friends. So in this way, we have to develop this attitude of consulting, clarifying, deliberating, discussing, and then coming to the conclusion. Otherwise, we will have all the disasters of Kaikeyi. She lost husband. She sent the Ram out of the kingdom. That means Ram is such a nice thing to have in the life, but she separated herself from Ram. She lost her husband. She lost her son. Son is saying, I will not accept you as my mother. You are my enemy. I will not talk to you. You can't be in my life. And Ayodhya Vasis don't want her. But of course, later Ramayana says how Kaikeyi, she corrected her mistake. She went with Bharat to Chitrakoot to request Rama to come back. She realized her mistake. She is at least ready to correct herself. That's her greatness. So I request all of you, please take an important lesson from this incident. That lesson is, don't be impulsive. Do not jump into conclusion. Consult, clarify, deliberate, discuss, and then take a decision. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.